Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the brand new previews exclusive Mezco 112 Collective X-Force Wolverine. And if you follow my channel, of course you probably know that I'm a big fan of the X-Force stuff. I love the Mezco X-Force Deadpool, so I'm really excited about this Wolverine. But let's get right into it, taking a look at the packaging. So the packaging for him is the same like metal tin that they use for a lot of the previews exclusive Mezco figures, and it's very cool. It looks nice, and I like the way that it kind of flips open like this, and then you're able to see the figure inside. You can't really see too much because of the plastic that they use, and it kind of covers it. It's to keep them protected and things like that, but he has the extra hands, the extra head, and the weapons, so that's pretty much it for the packaging. There's no real promotional pictures or any cool kind of artwork. It's a little bit plain, but it is cool, and it's collector friendly, and it definitely keeps the figure safe. And then on the back of the box we get this promotional shot that we've seen before. It shows the figure's accessories and then the figure itself, but the figure they show here is a little bit different than the final product, so that's kind of interesting. It's a pretty cool packaging, but let's get right into the figure. So for the articulation, there really aren't any surprises if you already have the standard version or the tiger stripe version. The articulation is exactly the same, but let's take a look at it here. The head is able to move side to side. You have movement where the neck meets the head and where the torso and the neck meet, so you do get a lot of nice rotation. You get some tilt to it, and you're able to get his head to look up to about there. It actually doesn't go very far up, but it does come down a nice amount. You're able to get his chin into his chest there, so that's nice. And then for his torso, like all Mezco figures, he has the two joints, one in the mid torso and then one at the waist. But on the Wolverine figures, it feels like the waist doesn't get very much movement, so most of your movement comes from the mid torso joint, and you're able to get them to crunch to about there. You could get him to lean back to about there, and the waist, it does help a little bit, but not very much. And then you could get him to tilt to the side, and then you get a little bit of a swivel, but not very much because of the uniform here, and it does kind of rotate around. So the torso isn't horrible, but it could be a little bit better. And his arms are on ball jointed shoulders, but the shoulder joints are really tight, so be very careful when you're messing with it. But you can get his arm to go all the way around. Just be very careful. Like I said, it's very, very tight, but it does go all the way around. And the shoulder pad is articulated, so you could get it, you could kind of move it out of your way so that it doesn't get in the way of the arm articulation. It does pop off, but I will say that the shoulder joints on this Wolverine, I mean the shoulder pads actually, don't pop out as easy as they do on the standard version. But yeah, they do move around, and then you could pop it right back on, and then you're good to go. But back to the shoulder joints here, they're able to come out to the side to about there. Then you have the upper bicep swivel. You have the double jointed elbows. You have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. And he does kind of have the butterfly joint that Mezco sometimes uses, but you're not getting very much movement out of it, as you could see. It's just very little back and forth. And then for his legs, you're able to get them to go out to the side to about there. I would not suggest that you spread both of the legs at the same time, because you could potentially rip the crotch area. You could only go to about there, and then I kind of get nervous and don't want to go any further. But his legs do come out to the side. They do come to the front, only to about there. As you can see, the material kind of gets bunched up right here, and it's kind of hindering the articulation a little bit. Maybe if we kind of mess with it a little bit, you could get a little bit more, but not too much. That's about as far as you're going to get your leg to go without ruining the material. And then it could go back, you know, just a little bit. Not too much at all, actually. And then he has the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, and then he does have a swivel at the lower leg where the boot is at. And then for his feet, you have some rocking. Let's see here. You could kind of push it to go a pretty nice amount, as you can see there. It's not too bad. And then you're able to get them to go forward to about there, bring them up to about there, and then they could swivel side to side. So the articulation on this figure is pretty nice. It does feel like it gets hindered a little bit more on the lower body than it did on the other Wolverine figures, but it's not horrible. It's still pretty decent articulation, so I'm pretty happy with it. And for his accessories, he comes with 4 sets of hands, starting with a pair of fists, and then he has a set of open dramatic hands, and then he has a set with his claws popped out, and then he has a set of gripping hands that he could use to hold on to his blade. And speaking of the blade, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but he does come with the Muramasa blade. And mine does look pretty nice, but it looks like it's warped a little bit. You can see that it kind of bends forward. But it does look cool. It has a nice reflective color on the blade. The handle is just black. There's really not too much going on. And then it does come with the sheath. And the sheath looks okay. You can see there's like some kind of sculpted like wrapping stuff here at the end. But there's no way for Wolverine to hold onto the sheath. It doesn't clip onto his belt or anything like that. But the blade does go into the sheath. And there you go. And it does kind of look cool just like that. But I do wish that there was a place that you could put it on Wolverine. He actually has to be holding it or something. He comes with two different heads. The first one here is just a plain looking kind of mean Wolverine grimace. And then the next one here is a more angry kind of like attack mode face. And fortunately on this PX version the teeth look fine. On the standard version the teeth were kind of smeared and the paint was messed up. But that's not the case here, so I'm very happy about that. And then we have the cool looking Mezco stand. And these things are awesome, but they drive me crazy because as soon as you take them out of the package and you touch it, it's scuffed and then you can't clean it. But it does look cool. I like the X-Force logo that they have here. You got the peg in the center that you could have Wolverine stand on. Or you can use the articulating arm, posing display arm, to pop out the little peg. And it's a little tough sometimes. Actually, this one popped right out, so that's cool. Just pops right out. And then you could stick the arm in there. And then you could have Wolverine hanging out on the arm or on the posing stand. Here's a look at him standing on the peg, and then here's a look at him on the articulated posing arm. And now for a bunch of size comparisons. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Juggernaut Wave Wolverine and the Marvel Legends 2-pack Toys R Us exclusive Warpath. And then here he is alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Black Panther. And then now we have the Marvel Legends Deathlock from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave and the Deadpool from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave. Next to the Mezco X-Force Deadpool and the Figure Arts Ant-Man. And then now we have him next to the Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett and the Mattel Halo Master Chief figure. Here's a look at all three Mezco Wolverines together, and this is probably how I'm going to display these figures, each with a different head. This head did not come with the standard version, it came with the tiger stripe, but I think it looks the best on this version. And you know what, for me it's really hard to say which figure I like the most because each one of them has like a special place in my heart. Obviously I grew up with the tiger stripe version, so I love him, and the X-Force books are some of my favorite X-Men books, so I love him. And then this one I respect is like the classic one. This one really reminds me of Frank Miller stuff. It's not really designed or based on any specific Frank Miller artwork or anything, but it just reminds me of that era, and I love that too. So all three of these are awesome. It'd be really hard to pick a favorite. I guess if I had to choose one that I couldn't live without, it might be Tiger Stripe. Maybe, I don't know. It's really hard to say. Don't hold me to that. Tomorrow it might be the X-Force, and the following day it might be this one. But all of them are awesome, and I love the fact that they're so different from each other. So if you buy all three of these, you don't feel like you're getting the same figure over and over. I almost thought that the X-Force version was just going to be like have the same pattern on the clothing, just be different colors, but it's not. It's a completely different pattern, and we'll take a closer look at that in just a second here. But yeah, it's a total different design for the clothing, so I'm very happy about that. And then obviously Tiger Stripe is like a completely different design, so that's cool. The boots are the same on the two figures here on the right and left, but then they're different on the X-Force Wolverine, so that's great too. But the belt is the same on all three figures. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it's not the same on the classic version. It doesn't have the X. I kind of wish it did have the X actually, but it's okay. As you can see, like I was saying, all the figures are different and unique in their own ways, so you don't feel like you're buying the same figure over and over. So that's a huge plus. And I can't wait till we have more figures to pose along with these figures. We do have Deadpool, so X-Force Wolverine and Deadpool could hang out, but I'm looking forward to getting Jim Lee Cyclops just so he could hang out with Wolverine. And I'm not really sure if they've announced anyone that fits in with this Wolverine, but how crazy would it be if they announced like a Sabretooth, man? That'd be awesome. And he could, you know, face off with the classic Wolverine here. But yeah, all three of these are really cool figures. Super happy about all three of these guys. Can't wait for Old Man Logan. And here's another really quick look at Wolverine next to Deadpool, and I love the fact that the grays on the two figures match pretty much perfectly. I do wish that the gray was a little bit darker, but I'm not mad with how it came out. And yeah, it's awesome. Look how good they match, and look how awesome they look together. I really hope that Mezco does some more X-Force stuff, especially Phantom X. I think that'd be amazing. For now, I'm happy to have these two members, and I'm glad that they look perfect together. The details on the figure, overall, I think they did a pretty good job. They did use the fake pleathery weird stuff that Mezco often uses, but I do think it looks nice on Wolverine. It kind of looks like a suit or like spandex, so that's cool for X-Men figures. And I am a little bit worried that it could potentially get damaged in the crotch area, either from me like posing it and moving it too much and then it ripping, or having him in the same position for too long and then it developing creases. So you kind of want to be careful there. I do like that they decided to go with these kind of strips here on the side. I think that'll have less people saying that it looks like pajamas. I do like all the sculpted details on him. The gloves look nice. I love the straps on here. I love the fact that there's like pads on the palms. I think that's awesome. They have that on the other Wolverine figures, but I always am impressed with that. I think that's cool. And then the belt has some pretty nice sculpted details, and so a little bit of paint shading you could see there. You have the X logo, and the belt looks pretty cool all the way around. I do wish that there was a spot where you could put his sword, but it's really not a big deal. I probably wouldn't have Wolverine with the sword anyways. I do like the shoulder pads too, and I think that they make more sense on this Wolverine than they do the brown Wolverine. I kind of wish that they weren't on the brown one, but I'm okay with them here. And again, like I've said before on Mezco Wolverine figures, the claws on these Wolverine figures are the best claws you're going to get on a 6-inch figure. They're very sturdy and nice. They do look like actual metal, so I'm a big fan of the claws that Mezco's done on the Wolverine figures. And for the boots, I think they kind of look a little bit funny, but I do like them. I like the sculpted detail up here. It looks like there's a little bit of battle damage, and then you have some like sculpted buckles and things like that. You have some tread at the bottom of the feet. And yeah, I think they look cool. I love the fact that they're different from the other Wolverine figures. That's a big plus. But like I said, they look a little bit funny to me, but I'm okay with them. But yeah, overall, the details are really nice on this figure, so I'm very happy with them. You do have some stitching in the back, but you can't avoid that. It does look pretty nice. It's well hidden. Doesn't stand out or look super ugly, so that's okay. But yeah, overall, very nice details on this guy. And here's a quick look at the head sculpt, and this is my favorite head sculpt out of all these Mezco Wolverine head sculpts, and this looks awesome. I love the red eyes. I love the very faint 5 o'clock shadow that you see there. It's a little bit reflective, so my blue background is kind of reflecting off there. It's not blue, obviously, it's just black. Then you have some gray here at the top. But yeah, this face is awesome. This head sculpt is really cool too. He definitely looks angry and ready to kill a bunch of people along with his X-Force teammates, so that's good. I do wish that it came with a different kind of head because, like I said before, we got both of these heads already with the other Wolverine figures. It would have been nice if they included one more different kind of head along with this last PX version. But it does look cool. I love the red eyes here again. And I do love the fact that the teeth aren't all messed up. They don't look perfect, but they're not all messed up. And, I mean, only on camera can you see like the little bit of flaws. But just looking at it in person, it looks fine. So overall, I'm very happy with this figure. I think that Mezco did a really good job. I think that he looks awesome next to the other Wolverine figures, but more importantly, I think that he looks perfect next to the Mezco X-Force Deadpool. So it's very cool to have a couple different team members from that, and I do hope they give us more. I'm going to keep saying it. I know I say it over and over, but I really hope that Mezco gives us some more X-Force figures. It's very cool that they've given us all these different versions of Wolverine, because I feel like they've given us the 3 main ones. I can't really think of one that's more important than the 3 that we have, other than Old Man Logan, and he's on the way, so that's very cool. They've given us all the main Wolverine figures. So yeah, I'm very happy with this figure. I don't think that he's perfect. I am a little bit worried about the material eventually getting damaged, but that's kind of my worry with almost like all Mezco figures, which kind of sucks, but I mean, you kind of know that when you pick up these figures, that you know, it's a certain kind of material on these things, and you know, they're not Marvel Legends. You can't really play with them all that much. You can pose them and mess with them and stuff like that, but you do got to be very careful because of the material. So you know, that's kind of no different here with Wolverine. And other than that, I have no real big gripes with it. I knew what I was getting because I have the other 2 figures, and I was just hoping that this figure didn't disappoint, and it didn't. I think it did everything it needed to do, so I'm very happy with it. But I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and thank you very much. Peace.